You are now tuned in to the Season 1 finale of Chadderbox Podcast. I'm your host, Becca.
And this is your co-host, Eric.
We have survived many tech fails, and again, my apologies for last week's missing episode. My computer restarted, the file was wiped, we are having some technical difficulties, and we are learning to roll with it as it comes.
You gotta hit save.
I'm learning things, and I guess I did not save the project before I was done editing it, and it was just a whole deal. So that's
Fail.
that's why last week's episode didn't come out. After all of that, after 6 months of recording, we are still standing, we are still rambling, and grab your snacks, mute your boss. Let's celebrate a wild, weird roller coaster that was season 1. And next season, we're going to go even harder and weirder, more unhinged. But before we get into it, the reason why I have Eric as my co-host, I would need to explain. Kyla is actually out of town at the same time as us. So we are currently recording on vacation. And we are at the beach. It is beautiful.
Yep.
Had a great time so far. Getting a lot of sun. So, our end of season 1 topic is an exciting one. And we are going to be talking about The Last of Us. We're going to be talking about the things that have been correctly taken from the game and played on screen, what things are different. We're going to talk about the game itself. Eric is very excited to share his knowledge on the game as a video gamer. I'm here to put my input in as somebody who's only watched the show, but I did do my research. So this is going to be a fun one. We're going to also talk about the character development between Abby and Ellie and how people have criticized it. And we'll end with talking about some insider details that we know about Season 3. So, without further ado, let's get chatty. The structure in the TV show versus the game. The game is told in a linear storytelling, and it's very emotionally jarring as you play as Ellie for the first half, and then you suddenly switch to Abby after Joel's death. The shift was controversial, and many players did not want to empathize with Joel's killer. I'm not going to be able to speak for this episode, so just roll with it, okay? Season 2 and beyond is split into multiple seasons, so 2 and 3 is going to allow more breathing room because the showrunners did not want to do such a hard switch as what the game did. So instead, they wanted to interweave Ellie's and Abby's story and play them side by side as more of a balanced narrative to maintain emotional engagement with people who have not played the game, which I think was done very well at that part.
With the TV show versus like the game, like you're kind of playing the game. It's not like, you know what I mean? So it makes sense that it goes, back and forth because, you play for a little while that way and then a little while the other way. And it's like, I think the fact that they're going to probably do season 3 with it being hers and then come back to it will be alright, because it's like you had to invest a lot of time to show a lot of events that do happen. But I will have to say that as a gamer, I've played a lot of games, but I tend to not finish a lot of games. I don't know whether it just leaves it open-ended or whatever, but this particular game, I haven't finished, so.
Because you're scared of what's going to happen?
I mean, I know what's going to happen. I know it ends up happening because I end up watching it, but I've personally never finished it, so.
While the showrunners are often softening the emotional whiplash by humanizing Abby much earlier, and is this better storytelling or is it?
I think you become and you play as Abby sooner than technically the TV show has shown it. So you'd have already, if you compare it, you would have already been in Abby's shoes, quote unquote.
Before Joel was killed?
I mean, yeah, you did play that because you played the section that, where she's in the dog cage, like trapped by, not dogs, but trapped by the infected under the cage, and then Joel saves her, and you're her at that point too. Like, you control a lot of what Abby does.
Well, this is what I heard through my research as a non-player of the game. In the game, Abby is only introduced post Joel's death as an instant backlash after Abby's perspective is watching Joel being murdered. And her motivations reveal the hate, which is why a lot of players did not like the fact that they had to watch Joel die and then they had to instantly play Abby, because that's how the game is.
I don't remember when I almost think I don't know. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played the game, but I know that you play as Abby very, very soon into the game because Joel basically dies very soon into the game. I know that you play as Abby when she's kind of going off on her own, doing that, like, security check or whatever, walking around the perimeter of that abandoned hotel or whatever. Like, you're her. I just don't remember. You might actually start as Abby. I don't exactly remember, but I know it's very early into the game. I think that it makes you consider it because it's like you're so mad at Abby, and then you are forced to, like, play as her, or at this point now you're gonna have to watch from her perspective. But it's like, by the end of you playing as Abby, I think you're like, okay, I understand where she was coming from, the hatred and everything, for Joel killing the dad and whatever, and it's like you understand where the anger was coming from, and it sucks that because you get torn, but it's fun emotionally, I guess. Well, I guess like in any post-apocalyptic world, it doesn't matter. Right and wrong is always still perspective. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, in the show, Abby being introduced before Joel's death is likely to build empathy for her sooner, as many people have not played the game, such as people like myself. And the casting of the girl who plays Abby adds emotional weight and subtlety. And introducing Abby earlier would also flip the fan reaction and make viewers actually root for her, is what I think. People want Abby to do what she's doing, although I don't. But I'm more on Ellie's side. But that's just me.
for this whole season, I was expecting it to bounce to her perspective, and the fact that it never did was like, oh, okay, they're gonna wait. That's what the next season will be. But I would have thought I would have already had Abby's perspective by now, like because I played the game.
There's only so much that they can fit in, especially with the budget.
No,
which is
I understand. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying.
You would have expected it, yeah.
So.
The pacing in the game is supposed to be between 20 and 25 hours of gameplay compressed between Ellie's revenge journey and then Abby's revenge journey. And you're locked into long stretches with each character, but it's not only Ellie half of the game and then Abby the other half. It's multiple going back and forth. And in the show, HBO wanted them to slow things down and to spread it across multiple seasons, because this lets them explore the characters with deeper emotional beats and flashbacks, and the show's pacing allows for better character development, which does make sense because there's only so much that you can fit into a 10 episode season, or 9. I think the first season was 9, I'm pretty sure, and the second season was 7. So I was expecting there to be more episodes. I was so sad that it ended at 7 episodes, but I would say that's one of the best shows of the year by far. I feel like it's been one of the best shows of the year. And especially...
When did Fallout come out?
Fallout wasn't this year.
Oh, last year? That's what I thought. Alright.
I would say it's one of the best acted, and I don't know, the script is a little but I still loved it overall. I'm not hating on the writers, although we will talk about the hate that the writers are getting in a bit. But when it comes to the show itself, it does mimic the game in terms of season 2 being extremely violent and immersive and emotionally raw. And you're forced to watch brutal kills and sometimes very uncomfortable situations. The TV format allows for a lot of symbolism to the game, and some scenes are kind of toned down or creatively reimagined, as some of the writers want to say. But I personally think, as somebody who's watched videos of the game itself, and I've watched the show was most definitely not as brutal as the game, and
Yeah, without a doubt.
and I think that that's because they're trying to appeal to a certain crowd, and that is.
I mean, you can't just blow everybody's head off, so.
And I feel like they're trying to make it appeal to women, which it's not bad. I think they are doing a freaking great job. Like, honestly. And the perspective between the game and the show also is you are Abby, you are Ellie. And this creates the guilt, the conflict, and the debate of which side are you really on. But in the show, you are not a player, you are an observer, and you're not a participant in the game. So the show can drive your emotions more directly. When you're not holding the controller, you don't lose the moral tension as somebody who has to make the decisions as a video gamer. TV storytelling, yes, it can be done well. I think it was done well overall. But if you had to rate it, what would you rate it?
I think it's done, for the most part, very well. I mean, the only real gripe that I would have to say that I had for the whole show was I think the actress that is doing a great job. Ellie's kind of more of a badass in a way.
In the game?
In the game, like she can do more stuff. Granted, you evolve and you're meaner and stuff as the game progresses at the same time, but it's like certain scenarios where it's more for the TV aspect of it all. Like I think to like run away from a situation. Like I know that they try to make her go head on and stuff like that, but it's like I think you should have let a head on scenario take place to where she had taken out 4 or 5 different people. It's like up until the episode where she finally uh, corners the one girl in the basement of the hospital or whatever. That's when I was finally like, that's Ellie. That's how Ellie's the anger and the rage of
When the girl was like breathing in the spores.
Yeah, and then she started beating her with a bat, trying to get the information out of her. That's the Ellie I was playing as. That was the character. Like, she's very driven. She's very angry. She wants what she wants. So up to that point, she seemed like just timid, and I know that she had, the other person. Can't think of the character's name, but she's looking out for, and you do have that in the game. But
her girlfriend?
Yeah, she's in the game, and like that character is in the game. But I think you definitely you wander off as Ellie by yourself more. So I guess that was the room for more scenes like that. But it's like you didn't have a scene except for that hospital scene where you see, in my opinion, what Ellie really is. She's highly capable, highly motivated. She's gonna see this through to the end, pretty much. And it doesn't matter.
Well, when it comes to we're actually about to get to that now. So this is what the fans and critics are saying about Abby and Ellie's acting in The Last of Us, and also this goes on the script writers as well. The writers play the major part of this by making them have to say what they say. And we're going to get into the criticisms first, and then we'll get into the good things. So, this is my take first before we get into this. I am not trying to criticize Bella Ramsey. I really do love her acting, and I think she did really well. I'm not kidding. In like multiple episodes, I felt like I was going to throw up watching it because it made me so anxious. So, because I didn't know what was going to happen. So, I think that she did very well. But this, again, is what people are saying online through my research. So, here are the major criticisms. The writers assassinated her character. Ellie's character is absolutely assassinated in season 2 with terrible writing. Ellie has no agency. She doesn't even feel like she wants revenge. She feels unsure, is what somebody wrote on Reddit, which makes sense to what your point was. She doesn't seem like a badass. Then another person on Reddit writes, Ellie just seems so stupid for someone who's traveled across the country. Basic stuff. Someone with Ellie's experience should definitely know what they're doing.
I mean, like I said, I would definitely agree with some of them criticisms. Like, in the first season, Ellie not knowing how to do things, and Ellie screwing up or making these mistakes or whatever. Joel hadn't taught her everything, and they had a lot of time together where Joel taught her more things, and at this point, she's basically almost a young trained killer, and you in the game you're eliminating your competition and anybody that gets in your way, and I would have to say in the show, it's very well done, but the fact that, yeah, I guess they make her feel like she's dumber than she should be or is.
So this is the talk. The talk is she vacillates between a reckless teenager and a wounded adult, which is entirely true in the writing. They do make her seem like she doesn't know what she's doing at some points, or she doesn't know what she's going to do. She doesn't seem like she is capable in the moment because she's scared, but she's supposed to kind of know what to do because Joel taught her what to do. That's kind of the point of her character, is what I think. But
I mean, I think in the game that does happen. I think that she's definitely driven, but she's driven by anger, and she does make mistakes as far as this decision put her in more danger than maybe it should have or whatever, but she's still facing dangers like head on, like when they came.
just like Joel.
So, like, I would say, like, in the show, there's just I'm okay with her having the anger or just being driven. That's part of her character, but it's like she seems like she just doesn't know anything in the show sometimes.
Well,
it's like, she should.
Another person from Reddit writes, she acts like a jerk and then she acts like a rebellious teenager. It all makes me roll my eyes, which I feel like that was done very well on her part. Like, she really does. There was so many points where I was like, why is she acting like this? But she was doing it really good. But I'm just saying, like, that's what my thoughts were. And some people say that another person writes on Reddit that she does not have vocal range as an actor, which I don't see this at all. So they said her American accent is really, really bad, and part 2 Ellie is one of the most difficult and emotionally nuanced characters. They gave it to somebody who's a mediocre actress, and I do not see that at. I think that she was a very good actor, and she makes you mad, and she makes you sad, and she makes you happy at certain points, and that's what a good actor is supposed to do. So I do not think that she's a bad actor at all.
I think she did a great job. Like I said, it's just, I think some of it could have been the writing, but as far as her acting and doing jokes and stuff like that, I think she does a great job.
Yeah, and I think that Ramsey nailed Ellie's emotional unraveling, and I really like also her PTSD spiral, that she's not okay, and I feel like that is portrayed beautifully. And honestly, I think that the ability to blend the trauma with also some sort of innocence also is what I feel like the writers were trying to do, which maybe they shouldn't have done that, but I think that for the purposes of the show, I think it makes sense. Because you're trying to build that empathy for both people. Because you're leading up to going into Abby for season 3, which is something we will talk about later. It is an insider knowledge about season 3. But now let's give some tough love on, and that's Caitlin Dever. Strongly positive consensus. A lot of people say that she was the show-stealing performance, saying that she was the highlight of season 2. They said that she portrayed her grief, rage, and hatred beautifully, which I would also say so. And the other positive consensus on Abby, Caitlin Dever, is that her eyes can effectively convey anger and sadness at the same time. They said that her eyes are very expressive, which I can totally see that. And she's very raw, and she's very, I would say her acting is very well done. Although, let's get into the criticisms, which apparently there's not much, but let's get into that. Apparently, they say that the writers underdeveloped her arc. Critics say that the show positioned her as a plot device that is just kind of there for the plot, but not a fully formed character yet. That's one of the criticisms, which I think it makes sense if they're trying to have them season 2 and season 3 be in both perspectives. That does make sense. But I guess critics are saying that Abby was not well developed in season 2, which it was mostly Ellie, which...
I mean, it was only Ellie, except for
the first part, because it was going back and forth between them two for the first half.
Like I said, I mean, you would have been more invested in her if you would have had at least one small perspective. Like, even if it was just the first real time you're kind of playing as Abby in the game, like, just something small just to keep her relevant. She's just non-existent.
I know, after like episode 2 or something like that. And this, Eric was talking about this a lot during the show. This is the main criticism for Caitlin Dever, and that is, she does not embody Abby in the game's physical presence. She is not tall, she is not muscular, and she does not look like she's been in combat or something, apparently.
I mean, she looks like she's a kid.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that she didn't do a great job as far as she made you feel the hatred she had. She made you feel that, hey, guess what? I'm going to beat him until there's nothing left. And she did have a leader presence, but it just, from an outside perspective, it just seemed like she's way too, and that's not it is what it is, but she's just too small. Like, she's not battle, whatever, and knowing what will maybe take place in season 3 from the game and certain things that I know about the game, like, I don't know, it would be harder to make things
make sense.
Yeah,
So, I guess a lot of people on Reddit were saying, why was a bodybuilder not casted only for Abby? It should have been a blonde bodybuilder. Is what they're saying.
I mean, you could have picked definitely an MMA style person, then that, I'm not, like I said, I think she did a great job acting. It's just the physique and
is missing.
It's complete, like, she looks like she's like 12.
And we're
So,
not criticizing her as a person here. We're criticizing the differences between her and the game. So we are not talking shit on her body. Absolutely not. All bodies are beautiful. But what we are saying is that in the game and in real life on the show, there was details that were not matching. So that is what we are saying. By the way, clarifying. And these are some other critical online things, which I don't know, Eric also had stuff to say about some of this. I think it's funny. So, apparently, the scene where Ellie says, "I'm going to be a dad," was highly ridiculed, viewed as bizarre tonal shift that underscores larger writing issues. Some other online critics were saying that they are more excited for Abby's arc than Ellie's in season 2 because they think that Ellie did not execute correctly. But again, this is according to people on Reddit. So this is not, online critics that are well known or anything. These are just people on Reddit. Also, other critics online are saying that the LGBTQ representation of the Ellie Dinah love story faced homophobic backlash online, but critics are defending it because they say that it is necessary to portray her actual character, which was in the game.
I'm gonna say I don't see that was in the game. Like I said, I don't remember all of the arcs or all of everything that was in the game, but there was definitely the love interest and whatever.
And you said that there were multiple times where her and her girlfriend were separated in the game.
Well, like you would go off and she would stay at the movie theater, that's your home base or whatever, and you would go off and explore this or that or whatever. So yeah, like you guys were together for a little bit. I don't remember when she started staying there. Maybe it would have been because she got that hurt and whatever. It's been a long time since I played the game, so.
Well, the key takeaways here on their character is Ellie, Bella Ramsey. The negatives are that the writing was inconsistent and overshadowed by what could have been a very strong and emotionally driven and complex character. But they say that Bella struggled to carry this gritty, mature, knows what they're doing kind of arc. She did not seem to portray that, according to critics. But the positives are that she was able to depict heartbreak and PTSD based on portraying the trauma very authentically, making it resonate with a lot of people. So, in that aspect, she was very good, and I totally agree with that. I do see that Bella struggles to make decisions and feels almost scared and almost not knowing what to do, which that's how I see it. And then Eric basically, he just confirms that for me and saying that she doesn't really seem to know what she's doing in the show, but in the game she does.
Well, like in the game or in the show, I think when she really became Ellie was in that hospital scene. Like when character who she's about to beat with the bat, like says like Joel killed her dad. Her response of like, I know, and and then starts going, where is she? Like it didn't matter to her. Like, yep, she already knew that. That doesn't matter, and he shouldn't have done what he did, or Abby shouldn't have done what she did, and that's when I was like, yep, that's Ellie. That's the driven thing. Like it doesn't matter. Don't care about your past. I don't care about anything else. You shouldn't have come after my family because now I'm coming after everything you have. So.
Mm-hmm. And she does a good job in that aspect, I feel like, even though she does seem unsure, which I feel like it just creates more space for empathy, honestly. And on Abby, Caitlin Devers' character, her positives are that she brought raw rage and heartbreak and was earning a really good reputation in the show as being a good actor. Some negatives were that the show needed to give her more depth, and physically she does not match the game's version of Abby. And critics say that she sells the emotional beat, just not the physical one. Which I would say, looking at pictures of Abby's character in the game, I can see where people are coming from. So, for the end, we are going to get into the key insider takeaways of what's going to happen in Season 3. So, Abby is going to take the lead, and showrunners are confirming that Caitlin Dever's Abby will be the central POV in Season 3, a bold narrative pivot from Ellie's journey in Season 1 and 2. Season 2's finale flashbacks is going to be Abby waking up in the WLF Stadium, directly signals the upcoming focus. This is the development so far in the writing status. HBO has already given the green light for Season 3. So as of April-May of 2025, script writing has not begun yet because they are still trying to see if they're going to be recording in Vancouver or not. Pre-production is underway for the filming, which will likely kick off towards the end of 2025 in Vancouver, Canada, and the insider scoops and Reddit rumors estimate that this will be out between spring and early summer of 2026. The Season 1 and Season 2 being 2 years apart, which realistically, they think that Season 3 will come out in 2027, but there is no official premiere date. So
That long? Jeez.
yeah, so we're assuming that it's going to be out mid-2026, but that's just my takeaway.
And that would make the criticisms of them not going back and forth a little bit even more valid. Like, I mean, I know it takes time to shoot and everything like that and all of that, but that does stink between the, because it's like at a certain point you lose interest somewhat, you know? And yes, I understand stretching the story out because it did need to be told, and I think it does, but for it now to be stretched over that many years before I even know what happens is like, I don't know, will I still be interested in almost 2 years from now?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I'll watch it, but it's like, and yeah, I'll rewatch the other ones, but, you know, it's a story that's kind of, you know, I enjoy that it's being told, but I think it could have been told a little differently.
Well, here's some scoops. They say that Season 3 will closely be adapted to an Abby-centric storyline and will be covering the Seattle days 1 to 3, and then you'll expect deeper dives into the Washington Liberation Front, the Seraphites, which are the strange, I'm assuming they're the strange religious people who were in the game.
But at this point in the game, like, you knew more about them as well, I believe.
Culty people.
Yeah, like, they had more of a... Yeah. I mean, they have a presence for sure in the game, but...
The disembowelment is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck?
That's in the game.
That's it's terrifying.
Crappy way to go.
Yeah. And the dialogue from Catherine O'Hara hints that Dinah and Ellie will still feature, although Abby's going to dominate. So it's kind of a hint from Season 2. There's also talk about the expanded lengths. They're saying that Season 3 is going to be longer than Season 2's 7 episodes. And this is going to be a potential arc for the subsequent Season 4 that's going to be for the farm/Santa Barbara segments. Do you know what the fuck that means?
I mean, if they're going to make it that long, that's kind of crazy, I guess. I would have thought that this next season you would have seen the end of the game. So.
Well, I guess they're going to try for a season 4. So what all this means is that there are ambitious shifts in the point of view, and the series is going to be doubling down on Abby's arc for season 3, which is a risky but faithful move to the game. Viewers' patience is required, since this is going to be at least 18 months from the end of season 2 till season 3 possibly will hit. You also have the story deepening with broader character cast and more flashbacks, and this is going to frame the narrative very heavily in season 3. And this is a strategic franchise build because HBO is clearly trying to play a long game here of baking on 3 to possibly 4 seasons to fully cover part 2. And my honest take, regardless of how they didn't do as much screen time for Abby in season 2, I think that it leaves the open expansion for what they will do in season 3. I think they left room for you to be holding on to your butts for season 3. I'm most definitely invested.
Well, like as a person who's played the game, it's like I already know the perspectives, so it's like the fact that they haven't, shown her perspective at all. It's like, and you're gonna make a whole season of it. Yes, there's a lot. And you do play as Abby a lot, and there's a lot of perspectives. And there's a lot of narratives and stories to be told there, and backstories. But you could have shown some, and then still equally been invested in another season. Not just to, see what her backstory is. Like,
overall, I'm excited to see what they're going to do, because I feel like they did Ellie's character very well. And I feel like there's a lot of potential for Abby to absolutely kill it in season 3, no pun intended. I'm excited and I anticipate Caitlin Dever to do an incredible job with her character in season 3. And maybe I will end up rooting for her. Who knows? But I'm still on
Traitor.
I'm still on Ellie's side right now. And I'm wondering if they're going to convince me. But we shall see. So, that is a wrap for season 1 of Chadderbox Podcast. From the bottom of my little chaotic heart, thank you for riding with us this very wild wave of season 1. For every listen, every share and comment, and wait, what the fuck did they just say moment. We hope that we made this season unforgettable. We are new business owners, and we are learning with you with every episode. So in season 2, we will be back with more stories, more mystery, more weirdness. But until then, take care of yourself, trust your gut, and remember, if it sounds like a conspiracy, then we will be covering it in season 2. So...
I thought you were going to say trust your gut, and if you think it's a fart, it might not be. Oh, sorry.
You're gross.
Yeah. Well, then, thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, and we will be back July 4th weekend, me and Kyla, and we are excited for what we will be doing in season 2. Keep it chatty, keep it nice, and keep it sweet, because... we're not going to be keeping it short, bitch. Except for today, because we're on vacation. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.